Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope everyone has had a good week. After some extremely cold weather here in New Hampshire, uh, we're back to somewhat seasonable temperatures. Might even break freezing a few times this week, which has been really nice. But I'm about to go ice fishing this weekend, so go purposely expose myself to the cold for long periods of time. But should be fun. So I'm excited about that. But this is week three of our Mastering the Basics series. So the first week we talked about the first step in mastering the basics, and that's minimizing processed foods in your diet. And then last week we talked about how to intake adequate fluid and how helpful that can be. And that's was part two in our Mastering the Basics series. So this week we're going to continue on with our topic of food and what we're eating, and we're going to talk about protein. So now we're going to get down to the actual food that you're putting in your mouth and consuming, and the different types of foods that we can consume and what we should be consuming. And the first topic we're going to touch on is protein, and protein is the most important thing that we can be consuming when it comes to food. It's the most beneficial thing for a variety of different reasons, which we'll touch on today. And it's also something that's everyone kind of agrees that is universally important to us, right? It doesn't matter what your diet philosophy is, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or animal-based, carnivore, paleo, Mediterranean, whatever. Pick your favorite diet. Um, every single diet out there is going to say, yes, you do need to take in protein. It is necessary for life. And the one thing that is somewhat controversial is obviously the source of that protein, and then the amount that you should be consuming. So I'm not going to go get into the debate about the sourcing of the protein. I personally am a strong believer in consuming animal-based proteins. But if you want to consume a vegetarian or vegan diet, that's fine with me. But the thing that I am adamant about telling people is that you consume enough protein, right? And so it doesn't matter how you're going to get that. I don't really care how you do it, as long as it's coming from whole foods, which is what we talked about in the first Mastering the Basics video. With that said, um, the first thing you're probably wondering, well, before we even get to the amount of protein that you should be eating, why do we care about the protein? Why is it so important? Why is it the first thing that we're talking about? Why is it not carbs or fats or something else entirely, or fruits or vegetables or something like that? Well, protein is the thing that your body needs to build and maintain muscle mass in your body. And ultimately, the more muscle mass that you can build and maintain throughout your lifespan, it's going to be indicative of your health long term, right? And if everyone's ultimate goal is to live a long and healthy life, regardless of how they look, muscle on your body is the most important, is one of the most beneficial things you can do to get to that goal. It will do everything from helping you not fall over when you're older and break a bone. It will obviously make you look better physically. Like everyone wants to look good, right? And muscle is the thing that will do that. Um, but it also has a lot of health benefits, right? It regulates your appetite. It helps keep your blood sugar stable and balanced. People don't realize that they have a lot of dysregulated blood sugar. They have diabetes and stuff like that. The best thing they can possibly do is add as much muscle to their body as possible, because it is the one of the biggest consumers of blood of sugar in your blood that there is, right? Active muscle. So the more muscle you have, the more blood sugar you can store in your muscle and get it out of the blood, and also the more you can burn, right? So it's important for just long-term health across the board. Um, when we're talking about, I want to live old to an old age and be, a functioning human being when I get there. It is also protein, besides building and maintaining your muscle mass, is important because it often comes with a variety. Whole food proteins comes with a variety of other things besides just the protein. It has vitamins and minerals with it, right? That are important for your body, and especially when we talk about animal sources of proteins, they can be particularly packed full of vitamins and minerals that are hard to get otherwhere in other forms, right? A lot of your B vitamins are copper, zinc, that type of stuff. Things that people often struggle with getting enough of are found in a lot of animal source proteins, which is really good. And particularly if you take a look at some of the organ meats and some of the shellfish, like oysters and stuff like that, you can get a lot of good stuff in just a very small package for very little calories. It provides a lot of vitamins and minerals to our bodies, which we also need. And then protein also has the added benefit, particularly when we're talking about weight loss, of keeping you full and satiated, right? So when you eat enough protein, um, you're not as hungry. I mean, eat a giant plate of your favorite protein, whether it's some types of beans and whatever, if you're vegetarian, or if it's a giant plate of salmon and shrimp and chicken, right? Like, once you eat that, you're probably not going to be too hungry for much after that, right? It's very satiating, keeps you full, right? So when I have clients who are looking for body composition results, protein comes in, benefits you in two ways. One, it's like we talked about, it helps you build and maintain muscle, which is what people want for them to look good. And then two, it can help lose weight without you even removing food. In fact, a lot of clients that are body composition clients focused, for me, I won't even tell them to take anything out of their diet. I will just tell them to eat more protein. And a side effect of eating more protein is that it keeps them full longer. It keeps them more satiated, so they eat less of the other stuff, right? So it just naturally pushes other stuff out of their diet, and they end up eating less food, and then they end up losing weight as a side effect just by adding more into their diet. So it's really a win all around, right? When it comes up to protein. The other thing to keep in mind here, from a body composition point of view, there's a theory. I don't think it's been proven, but it makes a lot of sense to me given what we just talked about. And it's called the protein leverage hypothesis. And basically, all this is really saying is that until you get an adequate amount of protein for your body's needs, your body will continually your brain will continuously send signals to your body to seek out food. So if you don't consume enough protein, it's missing enough amino acids, right? And which is the building blocks for your muscles. And then it's also could be because protein has a whole bunch of vitamin and minerals in it. You're also could be low in those, right? So you're low in these two very important things that the body needs. So it's going to tell you we need food because we need these things, these building blocks of our body that we need to survive. And so it's going to make you hungry because it wants you to go and seek out these foods, right? Naturally, today, people are not going to go seek out, whole foods, right? They're going to go seek out, oh, I'm hungry, I need a snack, let me get this candy bar, let me grab this sugary drink, let me, go to all these processed foods. And so what ends up happening, and these processed foods are devoid of nutrients and it's not satisfying needs. So they're always hungry, their bodies still, they eat, but they don't get the things they need, and they continually keep on seeking out more and more food because their body's still saying, we're still low in these things, please get me these things, please go eat some stuff, and they're reaching for the wrong things, right? Whereas if we reach for protein and we get the proper amino acids, the proper vitamins and minerals in our bodies, and then our brain shuts off and says, okay, we're happy, we got the things we need, we don't need to seek out any more food, and they won't be reaching out for food, right? So one of the hypotheses is basically saying until you reach your body's need for protein and vitamins and minerals that comes from that proteins, your brain will continuously tell you that you're hungry to go seek out the food to try and get the things that it needs. But once you shut that off and reach those needs, everything's good and you're no longer hungry, right? So I think there's some truth in that too. So that's another thing to keep in the back of your mind. So with that all said, right, there's a lot of benefits to eating protein, and so it's a very important thing. The next question is, how much do I need to eat? So what I generally like to see people shoot for, this is a rough estimate, right? It's not set in stone. It's not what you're going to see if you go look at read how much Google how much protein do I need to eat, etc. But from a lot of research, a lot of people do very well eating approximately 1 gram per pound of body weight, or if you're in kilograms, that'd be uh, 2.2 grams per pound of protein. 2.2 grams of protein per pound of per kilogram of body weight. If you are overweight or obese and you have a lot of weight to lose, obviously, that number is going to be very high, so it seems unreachable. So if that's you, then your goal is going to be you're going to use your ideal body weight. So whatever you want to ideally weigh, you'll say, I want to eat 1 gram per pound of my ideal body weight or 2.2 grams per kilogram of my ideal body weight, whatever you happen to be shooting for, right? And that is actually probably, I'll say it up front, an overshoot of how much you actually really need. It likely is, but most people undershoot anyways. They fail to reach that goal. So if you that's your goal, but you miss it by 10, 15 grams or whatever, no big deal. You're probably still within your optimal range, right? So I like to overshoot just because I know most times people are probably going to undershoot that number. And if you do happen to eat that number or eat more than that, it's unlikely to be a problem, right? I'm saying this as I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor, et cetera, et cetera. So please go talk to your doctor, your medical professional before doing any of this stuff. But from a lot of the research that we see out there, those numbers are perfectly fine for people who are healthy, especially if you are someone who has kidney disease or issues with your kidneys. Definitely go talk to your doctor before you start changing how much protein you're eating, because that's the one case where this might change up a little bit, right? However, if you're a healthy person, for the average person, healthy, whatnot, they can consume 1 gram or 2.2 grams per kilogram if you're healthy. But again, talk to your doctor if before you make any changes. And so that number, that 1 gram or 2.2 per kilogram, might look intimidating to you on paper, right? You might right. It might look like you might not, am I eating this? I'm even coming close to this. So the first thing is to kind of track what you're eating first, right? So get an app, like my favorite app is Chronometer. Weigh out your protein and then enter in for a few days how much protein you're consuming and see what it is. Most of you are probably going to be way below the number, right? Way below that 1 gram per pound, right? um, and the 1 gram per pound might look very intimidating. That's okay. It doesn't mean that tomorrow you need to eat 1 gram per pound, right? The next day or for the following 2 to 3 weeks, all I want you to do is eat 10 to 15 grams more than you're currently eating. So if you're like me, you weigh 160 pounds and you need 160 grams of protein, and you're currently eating 100 grams of protein, and you have 60 more grams to go, that's a huge jump, right? And lots of people can't make that jump and they can't fathom it and they can't figure out how to do it. And even it might cause digestive issues because it's your body's not used to consuming that much protein. So, what I would tell this person, I would say next week, for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I want you to eat 10 to 15 grams more. So, I want you to eat 110 to 115 grams of protein for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Get that down pat, right? Get to the point where over the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're eating 110 to 115 grams of protein. Once you're there and that seems reasonable to you, you're feeling good, your body's adjusted to it, everything feels fine, it's normal to you again, bump it up another 10 to 15 grams. So next week, you're going to be eating 120 to 130 grams of protein and see how that feels. Try that out. Figure out how much food you need to eat, like how you need to prep the meat and the whatever you're going to get your protein from, all that fun stuff. And then keep iterating over every 2 to 3 weeks. Bump it up 10 to 15 grams, 10 to 15 grams until you get to your goal by then. And if for whatever reason after 2 3 weeks you're still missing it and it's not there yet, don't worry about it. Don't fret it. Keep on trying, finding what's working, letting your body adjust. Right. Some people just really take a long time for their body to kind of adjust and to feel full and to feel satiated and to, or I'm sorry, to not feel overly full or satiated from eating that much. Give your body time to adjust and just keep iterating that way until you get to your goal. I have lots of um, other articles around consuming enough protein, the benefits, particularly in practicality, how to actually get to that number, like what do you actually consume? How do you get there? Because that can be a challenging thing. And so I will link all that stuff below, and you can check all that stuff out. And for more details, I don't want to make this video too long, but that's how I would go about it, and that's the benefits. That's the reason, and that's So this one basic thing that we're trying to master here, protein intake, might take you a couple months to actually do, and that's okay. That's fine because this is one of the most important things that you're gonna actually do for your long-term health. I guarantee it, no matter what your goal is. So take your time, iterate every few weeks, like I said, and work on it and work up to getting that goal. Right? If you do those three things that we've talked about at this point, eliminating most processed foods, consuming enough fluids and electrolytes, and then consuming enough protein, you're going to see huge changes to your diet, huge changes to your goals, sorry, to making progress to your goals. Just those three things alone. And so these three things can be very hard to do and they will take a long time. So just because I've gone and made 3 videos and released them once a week doesn't mean that you have to have mastered them in 3 weeks. This can take 3 months. It could take an entire year for you to master just these three things, and that's okay. That's fine. Just keep working on it, right? Just keep working at those things. So, with that said, I'm going to end this video. Check out the resources that I link below. They're very important, and they're actually very helpful in getting to this goal. Take your time, and as always, if you want to keep up with all the content that I'm putting out, including this video series, please go to my website, rjbhealth.coach. Click on the newsletter link at the top, and enter your email address, and I will email them to you every week. Also, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching and you want to really get your hands dirty and help mastering some of these basics, please go to my website again, rjbhealth.coach. Right on the homepage, there's a schedule a discovery call button. Click that button, fill out that form, and we can chat a little bit more about whether it would be a good fit to work together. And with that, I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I'll talk to you all next week.